Hello there, Making Melody here with Making Melody Crafts. So today what we're going to be doing is a graduation card. So I've got some Neenah. I believe this is the Classic Crest Solar White paper, the 110-pound cardstock. Absolutely love that. The first thing that I like to do here is dust the card. So my favorite way of doing that is using a chip brush. You can get these at Harbor Freight for, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't remember right now, but it's pretty economical. You get a whole bunch in a box. And they are a little rough. I just take a little emery board and I just kind of sand that down so that, you know, they're not so rough and I don't get any splinters. So, and it really doesn't matter if the color that you're using isn't exactly the same that you used last time. Absolutely don't worry about that. And I got this idea, to give credit where credit is due, got this idea from Lindsay Wyrick, the Frugal Crafter. And she is super great. Please check out her channel if you haven't already. So let's get started with the dusting. Get this brush going back and forth over whatever ink pad you choose. And these are pretty juicy right now, so that is loaded up. And then, wow, I almost forgot my scrap paper underneath. That wouldn't be the first time, I assure you. Your edges are gonna get a lot more ink on them pretty quickly. I don't know if you can see the green already on there. It's more obvious when you see it against white, there you go, that there's green on there. And, you know, if a little bit gets on the back, it's okay. We're not a machine, right? These are handmade cards. Nothing in some machine done, you know, a bazillion in a minute, right? So lots of care and love done. If you get a handmade card, they like you. Pretty sure. Because, yes, it's definitely a labor of love. It is not always a super fast process. So I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. It is very, very green right now. So let me flip this so you can see. Whoops, trying to get you in frame. Trying to get better at this. Wow, yeah, see the difference? Very, very green. You're gonna need 11 1/4-inch strips. So these ones up here are your 1/4-inch strips. And you're gonna need 3 1/2-inch strips. So however you wanna do that, if you don't have a paper cutter, don't worry about it. If you have a ruler and a piece of paper and a pencil, that's all you need. So you can, you know, just make a line on a paper and cut it out. A lot of different papers, I do them diagonally to start so that I get a nice long strip of paper, because I believe, I probably should have pre-measured this, but where's the fun in that? I believe this is the longest strip here, and I don't even know how big that is, but it doesn't really matter. So if you're not doing a 5x7 card, if you're doing an A2, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, that's okay. You're just gonna need a little bit less, and they won't be quite so long. You can also do this where you do all 1/4-inch strips, all 1/2-inch strips. That's totally up to you. So this is my favorite dry adhesive, is this Scotch Create 3M glue stick. Photo safe, multi-purpose, and it is permanent. Here's our card in the portrait, you know, opening. I can't think of words right now. So we'll start that again. So up here, this is gonna be the top corner. This is gonna be major brain work for me to realize I'm working upside down, just so you know. And once I get that in place, let me see. Okay, now I can't see any of that corner. And this is how I like to do it. You don't have to do it this way. You could start with your paper right up there. I don't like to, and I'll tell you why. Because when you do that, I'm gonna draw a little darker so that you can see that, but you wanna make a light mark. So that's my first mark. That's where you're gonna put your first piece, but on this side. So when I have started it right at the very corner of the paper, the issue with that is, I mean, even if you're using a good adhesive, if you're not giving this card immediately and it's going to be stored for a little while, that can easily come up, and then you can have, you know, a card that's coming apart, and you don't want that. That's kind of disastrous in my opinion. I would not want that at all. Okay, so we could start right away and put that one down. And if your mark is too dark, like mine here, I did that just so you can see it. If that mark is too dark, then you just go ahead and cover it up a tad with your paper. Or you could erase that, and if it doesn't bother you, no worries, right? If you can see a little line there and that doesn't bother you, then you just go with that. So this is how I like to do it when I have a small thing or a small piece of paper. Lay your item down on the glue stick, hold on to it with one of your fingers, preferably ones without glue already on them, like mine are, and then just slide it across. So now that's inked up pretty well. And then if you want to use a different finger that's, again, doesn't have any glue on it, do that, slide it across. So this glue stick can dry out kind of quickly. I like to leave my lid upside down sometimes, and if I'm not gonna grab it again quickly, then I just put it in there upside down. Now I've been chatting with you for a minute, but that glue is still not dried on me, so I have time to get that down. And I really hope I'm using the right one here. Yeah, I think so. So obviously the pattern I'm using, oh, and this paper is from K & Company. It's basic gray. And the thing that makes me most ecstatic, this is the same paper, ecstatic about this is that I got this at a Goodwill, actually I think in another state, this one. And then when I was in my home state and went to a Goodwill, well actually it was just like another secondhand store, but went to a Goodwill here, I found this paper just in a smaller, pad. This is a 12 by 12, but this is the whole line. Yeah, those are whole letters you can punch out. So this is the whole line of paper that I'm using. Basically just the ones with the polka dots on it. That's the one that I'm using right now. But I don't know if they still sell that. But again, like I said, use absolutely any one that you want, anything that you like. Okay, so we got our first one down there. We want a 1/4 inch in between each one. So we have 3/4 inch strips, then you're gonna do a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch strips, then a 1/2 inch, and on, right? So I've got the first one. Now, really you don't need your ruler again. If you didn't want to, you don't really need to do that. Just make a line, and now that's the area you're gonna skip. So don't glue anything right there. Leave that little space and glue there. So as I'm doing this, I also like, so I'm gonna put my ruler away now. As I'm doing that, I also like to kind of, check it out. Like, okay, is that where I want it? Or do I just want this color here? So if you have a paper that has a different pattern on it, just move it around till you get what you like. For this project, I would also say it is much better to have a smaller pattern, on your paper, because you're cutting it into such small strips in order for that to show and look nice. That's my opinion anyways. That's how I would want it. So I've got some red up here, and I'd really like to sneak some of this blue onto the paper. So I'm gonna put that right to the edge. Go ahead and leave it hanging off like that, because when you do, that's gonna help you not to worry about, not coming right up to the edge. It's easy in this card to be too short on your paper, so let it hang off a little and it'll be fine. Did I just do that one? Okay, my bad. No. Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, doing things upside down. You would think that would be easier for me, but it's not really the case. So see how I was able to pull that up and it didn't give me any trouble? And this glue, I just super love it. So I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause this so that you're not, absolutely bored to tears, because basically I'm just gonna keep gluing them down. I'm gonna come back when I get a little further. Now there'll be areas whenever you finish, any gluing like that, especially with, at least with this glue, most glues do this though, where it is going to leave a little bit of, I don't know, like a shininess, a certain glossiness. You're gonna be able to see that on the paper. And so when I finish one of these cards, I just kind of tip it until I can see where there might be some glue. Okay, I see some right here. So I'm gonna bring this up to you. And as I tip that, you can kind of see, can you see that? I don't know if you can. And you can't really tell there, but I can. So then gently you can erase that. Depending on your paper, it would be really easy to damage your paper as well. And this is just this is a latex-free eraser. One thing that we all learn I think in any kind of craft that you do, or any kind of project that you do, sometimes a mistake is just a chance for embellishment. That's what we like to say as paper crafters, right? But with anything, if you make a mistake, sometimes it's just a chance to figure something else out, to learn something new, and come up with something great. So let's see, do I see any other areas? I do, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase this. Now, yes, you could, in doing this card, you know how I dusted it first with the chip brush and the ink? You could do that afterwards, absolutely. You could have some paper on here, depending on the color that you're using and the color of the paper, you could absolutely do it afterwards. But, that kind of limits you as to being able to do that without having it show. In this case, I don't really think it would have made a difference because the background of most of this paper is either a greenish or a brownish. Whenever I see this paper, I always kind of see the green color that just pops out at me. So yeah, it wouldn't have hurt in this case, but normally, like I said, I wouldn't do that. All right, so I finished all of that with the erasing of any of those glossy areas where you can see that your glue was. And that's pretty decent. I'm pretty pleased with that. I do see a few areas here where I'm going to dampen this just by spraying it a little with a little misting bottle there, the one that I used before. And oh, let me put that, there you go. And that is a little wet, I can tell now. There we go. You know, this is kind of almost like a stenciling motion. I'm kind of hitting at that paper and then pulling away. And before I was just doing this back and forth. Let me get in frame here. Doing back and forth like that. So let's try to get that a little bit better in the areas where I had erased. So please bear with me and be kind. Right? Especially in this time. Everybody could use a little extra kindness. All right. Okay, that's pretty good. So now when you flip it over, it's pretty easy to see just what you're going to do and how you want to trim all of that. And don't worry about these things here. I'll show you how to take care of that in just a minute. So you can open it up and do it like that. You can flip it over, and it's usually easier to flip it over. So I have done this before and then actually cut the card. You could also use an X-Acto knife and a ruler. That would probably have a better chance of success, so why try that? I'll just stick with the scissors, folks. I live life on the edge. Not really. Okay, here we go. And it seems to work easier for me. I'm left-handed. Sorry if this is backwards to you now. Oh, there we go. There we go. Boy, it's hard to talk and trim paper at the same time. Who knew? So now there's areas like this. Let me try to get in frame here. See that last piece, how it's right at the corner? So I'm going to cut this in two directions. I'm going to go this way and then I'm going to come the other way. Just so that I trim that well and don't pull it off of there. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to continue to do that all the way around just like I was. And then eventually, you know, it's obviously all going to be like that. This is all trimmed down now. So all the edges are trimmed off. You could also put this, if you have a paper trimmer, especially a rotary trimmer. I don't really recommend the ones where the blade, where you sink the blade and then drag it. That's probably not going to go very well for this sort of thing. It tends to, I mean, maybe if your blade is really sharp and it's a pretty new blade in there, but it tends to catch and drag on those pieces of paper as it goes by. But a rotary trimmer, absolutely. You could put that in there. You would probably wind up not having exactly a 5x7 card if you did that, just because, you know, you might have a little bit of, you know, you might cut a little bit into your card, but yeah, that's totally an option. I just chose not to do it that way. That sounds way too easy. Now, we're gonna pick what's gonna go on the card. Before I start that, I wanted to point out, before I forget this as well, on the back, sometimes you're gonna get, there we are, you're gonna get little pieces that, you know, were on your craft table, different things that, you know, just may have gotten on there. Again, your handy dandy eraser, use whatever, you know, large handheld eraser you have, or I also like the eraser on my favorite mechanical pencil, which is a Pentel. So that's a pretty good one too, but I hate to wear those out. So let's use this. So you just start in a circular motion, you know, not rubbing too hard, just enough to where you see it move, and it'll usually grab whatever it is and take it. What I did here, these are rub-ons. Oh, is my battery getting low? My camera's blinking about something. I don't know what it is. Oh, I think it is. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay. So yeah, what I did with this before was I did these rub-ons, but when you do this, you can easily rub right through onto the back of the paper, because these you have to rub pretty hard for a lot of these. I have to say, if you're a crafter, let me know, do you still love rub-ons or not? because, wow, you have to push hard. It takes quite a bit of time. If you have any issues with arthritis or anything like that, that would be pretty hard to do. So doing it this way, where I have it on this piece of paper, you can do that separately beforehand, and then the pressure from all that pushing, you know, won't show through on the inside of the card. This one I did pretty good. You can barely see it, and you could always disguise that by putting decoration on the inside as well. Let's get on to decorating the card. So we've got that base done, we've got that color laid down in the background, then we've got our quarter pieces and half-inch pieces all glued down. I did notice on mine there were a couple that I didn't get quite enough glue on certain areas, so I will have to kind of go over that again. The edges of the card where, you know, so it was sticking off, right? And then we cut it. But sometimes if I don't have enough glue there, the edges have come up a little bit. If you can see that, but there you go. So they've come up a little bit. So what I do is I take the glue stick that I love, the Scotch Create. This is not sponsored by Scott, but I wouldn't mind. And then this is one of those, like a skewer. They're pretty handy for this. So I go ahead and get some glue on it. If it's dried out a little bit, because this is, you know, there's not a lot of water in these glue sticks, so they dry out pretty quickly. Again, like I showed you before, sometimes I spritz into the air and then just kind of catch the flow of air, almost like if you put on perfume, like when you spray perfume in the air maybe, and then kind of, you know, go through it or mist through it. So I've got a lot on here right now, but, oh, there we go. Now you can see it against my sweater. That's an awful lot. I don't usually do that much, but that way you can see it. And then I'm just going to kind of roll under the edge where I've, you know, not gotten enough glue, and it dries clear. And like I showed you before, we can get rid of that with just a large eraser. So I'm going to hold that down for a second to make sure I got it this time. There we go. Let's find if we've got any others. Yep, this one too. I didn't get quite enough glue on there, so let's get that. Does anybody have a graduate in 2020? If you are comfortable doing so, you know, let me know in the comments below. I think that should be celebrated. This pack, I think I got at a Goodwill because it says 20 cents on it, and you know how I like to mark things. This is from 2018, but hey, whatever, right? We're gonna roll with it. Some of those things you can change. You could put a different sticker on there. There's different ways. I don't know if there's a lot of glare on that or not, but these are fun. So we might use some of that, and I know for sure I'm gonna use some of this. Now I really like how the black lettering shows up on this yellow and, you know, kind of greenish background. I think that's what I'm going to use. So the cool thing about this is you can also kind of hold it up to here and get an idea of what that sticker will look like there before you place it on. So I'm not really keen, not really fond of, see the good luck? I don't know, is there a glare? Oh, there we go. That good luck is gold and the lettering is white, and I just think it blends in a little too much for my taste. So I'm gonna use, what? We could do Reach for the Stars. We could do The Next Step. That's kind of cool. And some of these may sound more like a graduation thing. Oh, and these are Sticko from 06. So yeah, I think I definitely got these maybe at a Goodwill or a thrift shop, something like that. And these skinny ones will definitely fit on that 1/4 inch line because they're about 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, let's go with, I have trouble committing to this because then I know, you know, once you do, it's done. So let's go with, let's go with The Next Step. Whatever that is for that graduate, it could be different for everybody, right? Some kids may be headed off to college. Maybe that's in virtual right now. And some may have other plans or may just kind of be waiting it out, right? But whatever their next step is, let's celebrate it. When we're doing this, so we've got three words here, and I'm gonna get them off of here if I can. There we go. So, you know, there's some stickum, but it's always better to add a little stickum. I'm gonna start from the center and work my way out. So this is a 5-inch card, so that means the center of this is at 2.5. I know, that's impressive math right there. I hope you are impressed. That's about the limit of my math. So even though this card is 5 inches, that strip that we're going to put this on is around 7 inches. Yeah, just about 7 inches. So the middle of that is going to be 3.5. Obviously, if this isn't exactly right, it's not going to matter, but you do want it to be somewhat right. You know, somewhat centered, I should say. All right, so this again, hot glue could work for this. These glue sticks, if you have that art glitter glue, whatever you like. Again, that Beacons 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac, or I've heard they're kind of the same thing, right? Something like that. Now, when I want to position it really well and I want things to be centered, I grab my tweezers and I see my centers right about there, although to me it looks like it should be at 4 inches, doesn't it? Doesn't that look more like the center? But I'm not going to worry about it. Let's just get it down there. This is also hard because I'm working upside down. And yeah, now it's going to fight me a little, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, so I like that there. You can't tell probably, but there's a whole lot of glue on that I don't really want there. Let me flip it around just for a second to see if I like where that's positioned. I think so. I think that's okay. And then this one would be here, right? And this one somewhere's here. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks okay. All right, now to clean that off a little. It should dry clear. It shouldn't be a problem, but you know, glue isn't always so forgiving. Whatever your adhesives are, and if you're new to card making or crafting or whatever, you'll find out what adhesive works for you and what you like. And honestly, I don't know, sometimes when people used to say that, I'd think, oh great, now I have to try every adhesive on the market. No, you don't. Try what adhesives you have and see if you like that. And if you don't, go on to something else. Let's go for the next one. There we go. Okay, I don't know if you can hear my clock ticking, but when I'm not talking, I can hear that. I love hearing that though. The ticking of a clock, I think it's just such a cool sound. So we have multiple clocks going. Oh my goodness. All right, so I've got about, what is that, a 1/2 inch or so in between each one? Yeah, just about. Well, look at that. And then if we wanted to be, you know, all fancy and technical about it, I can leave the ruler there and make sure that the next one is just about the same space. So again, doing it with a brayer, unless you're sliding your brayer, you know, but if you're rolling it, you're not going to shift that item. Sometimes when I'm trying to push it down and getting glue off, you can easily shift that item. So I'm just rubbing some of the glue off of my hands. All right, so we've got our tweezers. There's also a reverse grip tweezers that you could try where they hold on when you let go, and when you squeeze, they release. I eventually do want to get those I think that's what you call them, right? Reverse grip, or I don't know, some other fancy terminology for it. And they're also longer too. Those special tweezers are longer. Okay, so yeah, that's about a 1/2 inch. We're going to call it good. And I see there's a part of that sticker that doesn't want to stay down, so I'm going to convince it to stay down. Making your crafts listen. This is what it has come to. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Next step. You don't always have to do words, right? Like, of course, you want some sentiment on there, you want some kind of, you know, text, but there's also these, which are really fun. They're not stickers, but you punch them out and then can stick them on, but you do need an adhesive that is going to dry completely clear and completely invisible. That leaf is so cool. Leaf? Is that a leaf? Is there another word I can't think of right now? More than likely. Okay, let's take that off of there. Where do we want this to go? I think it would look kind of cool. I'm looking in my viewfinder to see how this looks up there. I'm going to turn it around for a minute so I can see what that looks like. Oh, that's cool. One thing I really love about doing these diagonal cards like this with the strips on there is something right at the bottom. I just think that's fun. It's kind of like the visual weight, you know, at the bottom thing in art, but I really enjoy that. It's like a little surprise at the bottom of the card. One time for my great niece, I did a card and put a little butterfly at the bottom. I think I stamped it. It just to me is like a little surprise at the bottom of the card. It's kind of fun, kind of fun. This is the Zig Memory System two-way glue, acid-free, xylene-free. So there's, you just push it in. It takes, oh, now it's coming. It takes no more pressure than a clicking pen. That's about the same amount of pressure, maybe a little more. All right, this kind of has a right side and a wrong side, and I'm trying to figure it out. I think that's the right side. So we're gonna go from here, and when I'm not sure how a glue would react on my hands or my skin, this is just me personally, I try to get the glue on there without having it come in contact with my skin. So let's see what happens with this card. I really hope. I don't know who it's going to be for. I'm not making this card for anybody specific, but I love this style of card because it's also easy. And right now, you know, we're at home, right? A lot of us, and want to find things to do. And what a cool thing to do. Trying to, you know, do something for somebody else maybe. And we also get a little bit of craft time. So I'm going to roll over this, but I'm going to use a piece of scrap paper to do it. I think I like where that is. Sorry I was working upside down to you, but I wanted to get that kind of how I wanted it. I'm still not totally sure if I love that there, but I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to put that down and roll over it. So when you do that, make sure you get your scrap paper off quickly because it's permanent and it will glue that on. And it will ruin your card. So I'm liking that. What else do we want? Let's see, what should we have at the bottom? How about a star? Yeah, that'd be a cute little surprise at the bottom of the card. So let's do that. Since I feel stuck in the other areas, I'm just going to move on. And I don't feel stuck about putting something down here at the bottom. So I'm going to do that. And I think we're going to stick with this adhesive. Now I'm just running it across there, and it's on my finger. So it is kind of a mess, not gonna lie, but we're gonna fix that later again with our handy dandy larger eraser, which is, here we go, which is there. So we'll be ready for that. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone because the more I mess with it, then the adhesive won't hold on if I keep bothering it. Cover that up so it doesn't dry out. Yeah, I like that. And I like when a star or anything else kind of hangs off the edge of something. I don't know if you can tell, but that star is a little bit off the edge of that 1/4-inch strip of paper. So a little surprise at the bottom for graduates, for seniors that are definitely a star, I think. Okay, so what else do we have? We do have another leaf here. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to skip those. This, congratulations. Let me see if I like that up here. Oh, well, that's a bonus. I didn't even realize. Sometimes this happens in a package. There were other stars that were stuck to the mortarboard. I'm looking in the viewfinder trying to find where my hand is. Oh my goodness, I guess I should just, you know, look at my hand and what I'm doing. You know, looking at what you're doing, that is a new concept. Has anybody else discovered that as a good way to do things? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. And you know what I think? I think as you're doing things, a lot of times, doesn't something just come to you? Yes, the theme is graduation, but do you know what else the theme is about? The theme is about a star. So they should be celebrated, and they're a star. So this card is going to get some more stars on it. I absolutely adore it. When I do a graduation card, I love to do it in the colors of that class, right? So if the colors were, you know, red and white or purple and green or whatever the colors are for that school, you know, their school colors. Yeah, it's fun to do that like that. I think it just makes it special. So this star I've got is gold, and I am going to use it here, but I'm going to try to get it on an area where it doesn't blend in quite so much. So how about on the red? Let me see how I like that. Again, I got to turn it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. One thing that I like to do also when I'm doing these, I want a little more glue on that. There we go. Is to go in a zigzag down the card with whatever it is that I'm doing. So if I start here, then I want to come here, down, 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 and then down to the bottom like that. That's kind of, I don't know, I think of it as the, you know, the eye, leading the eye through the card, you know, through the piece there. Okay. Oh my goodness. There we go. All right. So where do I want this guy? Shout it out. Where should the next one go? Now this is a gold star again, which I said I wasn't too keen on doing. You could also take a permanent marker and color these, and that should be okay. Your Sharpies, any permanent marker, they're alcohol based, so water isn't going to bother it as long as you wait for it to dry. Should you, you know, I don't know, get it wet in some way. Let me turn this around for a second again. So since I've got black here, I've got gold here, I'm going to want a black one probably around here. I have another one, right? Is it on my fingers? Did I drop it? Oh my goodness, what just happened? I thought I had another one. Okay, I guess not. All right, well, let's move right along. So I've got black, gold. I wanted a black one here. I think I am going to try to color that one and see what happens. And then I'm going to put a gold one down here, and then we have the black one at the bottom. I don't really want it right near that one though. There we go. I have to have more of a plan when I am working. And yeah, that's really recommended. You can always veer from the plan, but at least have an idea of where you want to put things. All right, do we want that there or not? Sure, why not? So there we go. So I've got that guy there. I'm actually going to leave him kind of centered there on there. So, yep, so that's what we got so far. All right, so sometimes when I'm doing a card, I don't really want, you know, like a bazillion different sentiments. But in this case, I think I want something else. So we have our graduate, there's a star, that's our theme. Something encouraging, right? How about believe in yourself? Yeah, let's do that. And again, I want the black background with the white lettering because that just tends to show up so nicely. And I'm gonna put this here. I don't usually, whoa, that was close. Because I'm looking at it upside down, I would have put that on wrong. I don't usually put the little letters like this on the big space. I prefer to use the 1/4 inch. This is about 1/4 of an inch in height. I usually like to put them on these thin strips when I make this type of card. But for some reason, I don't know, I just think it's really neat on there and it really pops. So yeah, lots of different choices. And you know, if what I have on here now is too much to you and you know, you're thinking, wow, that's already too many things, it's too busy, then just do less when you do your card. So one thing that during this time when we're, you know, kind of stuck at home, one thing that I did was I pulled out, we still have an old typewriter from like the 80s, and I pulled that out and actually used that to do some of my own sentiments, and that was really fun. If you have, you know, an old typewriter, or you can just use your computer, if you've got a computer that you know that you can use, and a printer, you could just type out different things that you like, different sentiments, different sayings that you like, and you know, put some adhesive, print it out, put some adhesive on the back, and put it on a card and call it good. All right, so I think I like this. I'm not exactly, there we go. The cool thing about doing cards is, woo, I can still move that one around a lot. And that's already been sitting there for a minute, and I could still move it around. Again, that's what I just adore about a good glue stick. So that's kind of how that turned out. I try to get them, you know, somewhat even, but it's art. So that's the great thing about doing anything like this. I'm still trying to get all this glue off of me. I'm a mess. Can you see that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can change it how you want. Art doesn't have to be so exacting. I think that's why I'm not a big fan of baking. I like to cook, but I don't really like to bake. Let me know, are you a cook or are you a baker? What's your favorite thing to do? Let me know in the comments. I think that's pretty interesting. So I like that. One thing I do wish that it had on here, and I was looking for, I paused the camera for a minute and I was looking for the, you know, just to say congrats or congratulations. For less formal occasions like a graduation or, you know, sometimes like a new job or whatever, I just kind of like congrats. It just feels fun and playful, and I just like that kind of thing. So this one does say congratulations, and it's obviously for a graduation. I don't have anything else on here that's specific about a graduation. The cool thing about a card like this is maybe you make a few. If you're already doing it and you already have the paper and the supplies, you know, you could make a few at a time. If you felt like it, you'd have some on hand. And this, believe in yourself, the next step, this could be for a new job, a retirement, moving, anything like that, or somebody maybe that's embarking just on a new career in general. So there's lots of different things you could do, but as soon as you put this on there, you're kind of committed to a graduation, I think. So, what do we think? Should I leave it? Should I add that? I think I'm gonna leave it, even though I feel like it's missing something, but maybe I need to step away and look at it with fresh eyes, and then I will feel differently about that. Ooh, that could even go underneath the next step, the little diploma, right? Could even go like that. But I think for now I'm gonna let it alone. And that is our graduation card for the class of 2020. I don't have anything handy and right near me that says 2020. You could use, I do have different stamps that are individual that have numbers. You could absolutely do that yourself. You could write it in if you have, good handwriting, or even if you don't, you just want to write it in, feel free. Do what you want. So on the inside, oh, there's glue. On the inside, I haven't done anything in there. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I think I'm going to leave it as it is. I usually sign my cards on the back. Oh, and that's what I was going to add that I forgot what it was. One thing that Lindsay Wyrick does with her cards so that you can reuse them is she takes a Post-it note or, a sticky note, and she writes her message on the sticky note and then puts it in the card. And once you do that, the person can remove it and reuse that card. So it can go on to bless somebody else and brighten their day. It stays out of the landfill for a few more days or weeks or whatever. So why not reduce that and stretch our dollars and help other people out as well. So that is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't bore you to tears. And I hope you had fun. And I would just say, be encouraged. Yeah, I don't know what else to say there, but be encouraged and hang in there. We'll get through this. This too shall pass. So you have a great day, and I'll catch you later.